Hi, it's Tiffany Lorraine, the Resilient Mother with the Resilient Mother podcast. Today I have another episode for you, and this one is on strength from within, building resilient strength. And I have with me Carrie, who's an instructor at Beating Disaster, and she's going to give her point of view on this, on more of a preparation and being knowledgeable on things point of view. Carrie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you'd like to add to this conversation?
Absolutely. Like you said, my name is Carrie. I'm an instructor for Beating Disaster. We provide online and in-person training in relation to prevention, protection, and defense, specifically for moms. So like you had mentioned in talking about resilience, there's a lot of mental preparation. People don't realize how much of that is mental preparation. They go, I want to take a self-defense class so I can beat something up. And don't get me wrong, that's a great time. You should do that. But there's so much that has to do with resilience that has nothing to do with fighting. It's not about the fight. It's about prevention, protection, how we perceive things. The way we look at things makes a huge difference. How we take care of ourselves, our perceptions, our needs, our goals, our priorities, all of these things allow us to create resilience.
Because I think everyone thinks strength and they think fighting and being strong, and when really some of it is not knowing how to not be a target in some situations is really more of a resilient strength that we as women could use in some situations. And you have firsthand experience with that with preparing people. So can you give some examples of that, especially for our mothers?
Well, I can, and I'm happy to. Like, situational awareness used to be a technical term that was reserved for people in my industry, but now everybody knows what situational awareness is. Everybody looks around. Everybody does that. You can Google it, and there's tons and tons of choices on how to look at that. However, I would like to kind of like take a slight detour on your question to where more important for women and mothers is not so much, I shouldn't say not so much, because absolutely avoidance. Of course, we want to avoid anything. We want to become a difficult target for anything. But people don't realize that having, and I should say specifically for women don't realize the value and strength in having prepared responses.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? Like, that just doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Okay, catcalling. Right? Generally, women either go crazy and I'll show you, there's that response, or there's the ignoring it. But the value is in having a prepared response. For that situation, for that example specifically, since I brought it up, acknowledging the attention, being grateful for the thank you, I'm flattered, however, I'm not interested, that is much more effective. Because if I go yelling obscenities and try to, they're rude, I'm going to out-rude them, well, that's escalating the situation. And then when I avoid it and I don't address it, that creates room for more. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm not giving a clear answer. But when I'm respectful and clear and I have a prepared answer, I'm flattered. I'm just not interested or available. And I don't want you to waste your time. Thank you, though. I hope you have a good day. That's it. Like, that's so boring for anybody to take any further. Like, what's left?
Right. I think that's a great example of being prepared in a situation. You already decided ahead of time how you're going to deal with it and how you're going to stand for it, instead of being caught off guard by it and then either allowing more, like you said, without meaning to, or meeting their level and escalating it. And really, those are kind of the two choices. But if you've already decided ahead of time what your boundaries are and you have some prepared responses, then you remain in control of what's going on. And I think that's key. How would someone that's a mother pass that on to their kids and help their kids be prepared as well?
I love that, because it's something I'm really excited about. My parents invested into, preparing me for the world. However, the tools that they used to do it were what's, easily found when you just do a quick search. And while people mean well, it's not always effective or the best. So we actually have our own stuff because I was unable to find anything that I felt safe or comfortable or proud to recommend. We've created our own. And this is, and when I say we, I mean there's a collection of a handful of people who work in security, self-defense, police, like all these related industries. Like we all have kids. We all want to impart this stuff on our children. So we have a collection of books, kids' books. You're going to read with your kids how many hours a day anyway, or maybe not hours, I mean, like, of course we read hours, right? But, you're only going to read a couple books with your kids on the daily basis. They might as well be books that not only are they learning to read, but they're learning values, the resilient perception, talking about how matters. So we can use books, games, conversations to help our child perceive these big words like safety, comfort, strangers, help. It just seems so nonchalant and no big deal, but the resilience comes from understanding that not all help is helpful. Not all strangers are unsafe. Not all police officers are safe. Not all, you know what I mean? Like when it comes to the world of safety and violence and trauma, there's not black and white answers. It's all gray. It's all gray. So when we give our children these black and white, strangers are dangerous, police officers are safe, well, there's some unfortunate people who end up in those gray areas where it just didn't work for them, or it doesn't.
I have such a great example that fits what you're talking about. I have a lovely daughter that's a bit of a dreamer, so her mind wanders a little bit. And we were at a theme park. This isn't recently. This is when she was younger. And my one daughter was ill. And so we had a wagon. She wasn't feeling well. I'm like, I need to go see if she's dehydrated or whatnot. She's my older daughter. My younger daughter's behind me, behind the wagon as we go. So I think we're about to head straight out and then turn left to go to first aid, which is by the exit of the park. While I get to first aid, I start explaining about my older daughter. I turn around, my younger daughter is nowhere to be seen.
Oh no.
I'm freaking out. She didn't turn left. Where did she go? And she's not old enough to really be on her own. And so I immediately told them, I went and grabbed the first person in the park I could think of. I asked them to go that way. I instinctively felt something tell me to go out to the front of the park. So I go out to the front of the park. Okay. Here's my child next to the curb, just pacing back and forth. She was calm, but she didn't think to ask for help. She was embarrassed to ask anyone for help. And she had no idea she was in danger just standing there by the curb, that someone could have grabbed her and just taken her. And I thank the Lord and his guardian angels for helping me know exactly where to go to find her. But it was a real lesson that we had to talk to her about and have her be more aware of, go find somebody with a name tag when this happens so they can get you back to your mom. You can't just be out here on your own. Luckily, there were lots of families around, and I think someone just thought she was a part of another family. So that probably was a good thing in that case. But it was a situation where I wish I had prepared her better for what happened.
We specifically we have an online course, and one of the modules is prepared children. And not only do we have books that we recommend you read with your child, so they develop what we call their safety plan, but we have it so you can specifically for that one, for getting lost, because getting lost isn't necessarily a bad thing. I know that sounds horrible, but what it is, it's an opportunity to practice. It's an opportunity to do life. It's an opportunity to see what happens. It's an opportunity to see how our kids handle it. Like I said, you learned a lot about your daughter. Also, you made some great points. My intuition, and that's a huge part of this Mama Bear Prepared online course, is like we are much more prepared than we realize we are. A lot of it is giving ourselves permission to trust ourselves and understanding that intuition is, as you said, God-given or survival or however you want to classify it. But that is what's going to keep you alive, keep you safe, keep your, I have no doubt when you say I knew exactly where to find my daughter. I believe you because I understand that's the solution. So
and I want more mothers to understand that power that they have and that strength with them and within them to trust that what's best for your child in a way nobody else can. They lived inside of you. They were a part of you. Now, there may be adoptive moms out there. I get that too. But when you are that invested in your child and a part of their lives, there's something in you that knows what they need. And in times like I was facing, you have to trust yourself because there is something in you that knows.
Yeah. And that's an entire module in that online course too, just so there's as much proof as you need. We go through it and we'll walk you through, and we walk you through questions because you already know the answers, but maybe you didn't know to ask the right question. We know how to ask the right question so that you can give your answer, so that you end up with your own personal safety plans that are appropriate for your family, your need, your preferences, your value, your lifestyle. Because for me to tell you that you shouldn't let your kids talk to strangers, like, that's none of my business. You know what I mean? Who am I to say what's right or safe for your family? Because I can tell you for my family, my children are coached to talk to strangers. My children are coached on, they are responsible. My children are raised to have conversations, to ask for their needs to get met, just like you were saying with your daughter, so that they know how to ask for help. They're expected to ask for help. I require them to ask for help.
Because from the right people, and sometimes those right people are going to be strangers. Sometimes they are going to be the theme park employee with the name tag. So if we just blank out and say all strangers, that kind of creates a barrier from them getting the help that they need in some cases. So I love to hear that that's a module. Tell me again the name of this program, and maybe walk us through a couple more of these modules, because we're talking about one aspect of things. I know there's many more.
So this is called
Prepared and Strong.
Yeah, this is called the Mama Bear Prepared online course. So there's a couple different offerings of the same course, and it's tailored to moms of different age kids. So moms with kids 4 and under, you have to worry about your kid biting, hitting, screaming, kicking. You have to worry about that, okay? So all the things that are appropriate that moms with kids, also your baby gear. We teach you how to use all your baby gear in self-defense. You picked your carrier. We just walk you through these choices. There's no good or bad answers. There's just what's good for you, what works for your family.
Options, yeah.
So then we have elementary. All right, your kids are going to school. How can you feel safe with your kids at school? Right? Today in the United States, that's scary. So how can you feel safe? We'll help you. We'll take step by step so you're prepared. You know about the school's policies. You are in the know. You have a plan. You know your child has a plan, and you're prepared. Okay, so that's in the school. You have elementary age kids. You got like rough housing, wrestling, all of that stuff. How to get your kids to stop fighting, or how to get your kids to roughhouse in a way that's safe, because it's really healthy and wears them out. Right? Don't you like tired boys? I like tired boys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Hello, fight.
But it's also like how you can use those as opportunities to teach consent, because the same behavior on one day with the same 2 people may be appropriate, and it's not on another day with the same 2 people. How these are big concepts, but we make them fun and simple for you to share with your kids. And the reality is I learned a lot of this stuff right alongside my daughter. Mm. The thing is we're teaching skills like how do you tell somebody no? Well, yeah, okay, you just tell them no, but do you tell your mother-in-law no? Well, not my mother-in-law, you know what I mean? Well, if you're not saying no when you need to say no, then how do you expect your kids to say no when they need to say no? So all of this, so you can learn right alongside your kid. And then we have an offering for teens and tweens, because guess what? Your kids aren't excited to tell you about what's going on in their day. How can we feel safe about our children's decisions when they're teenagers and they're not talking to us? Here's all the things that you can do on your side of the street. Here's all the conversations that you can have, and how you can help your children to create a community or a support group, so that even if they're not talking to you, they are talking to somebody.
That you trust. Yeah.
Correct. And then we also have the last one, which is for special needs. It's for high needs kids. We use high needs because today we have behavioral, and they just don't quite fit with the special needs. But it's every mom knows if your kid is more, you know who you are, and that's the one for you. And the reason why is, although the same information is in all of these courses, the way that it's applied and tailored is appropriate. And for this one, we have a module called Raising Nonviolent Children. And this is about how your kids interact with other people. Mm-hmm. And when your kids need more, you might need more attention here. And it's all the things that are in your control to help your children be safe people.
I love that. And that's, I think Mama Bear fits so well with resilient strength and really fits that theme. That's one program. Is there another program that's just for moms that want to keep themselves in a good place and want some more tactics for just their own safety?
Well, yes, and even better, this is different. We have a Facebook group. It's called Mama Bear Prepared, right? Aha. Yeah, in that Facebook group, it's so fun. There's so much stuff. It's growing. It's new. So we're just starting to get some traction there. But we have regular Facebook Lives. One of them is called Mama's Ready. And we talk about how you probably already have something on you that you carry every day that you can use in self-defense. We just did one, I don't know how this goes, with mugs. So we talked about how to pick a good mug for self-defense, right? Because if you're going to have it, you're going to have it. Especially if, like, for the mom who maybe their partner or somebody that they live with, they just don't feel safe with them, whether because they've had outbursts or problems in the past, or maybe because they're just not comfortable with their life choices or where they're going and they're starting to feel uncomfortable. You're not going to, like, walk around the house with pepper spray. P.S. You can't use it in your house, But I mean, like, just having the security of just having something in your hands and just knowing, like, I have choices, I have a plan, I am prepared. So that's one. But so we do regular Facebook Lives, and in that group, there's also we have regular offerings of Prepared to Protect, Prevent, and Defend, and that's all the mindset stuff, the resilience that you talk about, how to look at things in a certain light so that it's not as scary or as daunting or we're ready for it.
So that you can be present in the moment and deal with it properly and not, what is the word? You can crawl inside of yourself in some traumatizing situations and not be present for what's going on. And that'll leave you as a big target. And that's a lot of awareness, because that's even more than a mindset thing. That's a trigger thing. And that's something that probably needs more in-depth therapy or work. But the beginning of it all is knowing how to avoid being the target, becoming the victim, and knowing inside resiliently where the mindset shift is. Because like you said, being prepared with the response, being prepared with how you're going to deal with the situation is one thing. It's another thing when you're caught off guard or you're going to put in a situation you weren't prepared for. But if you're resilient and you're strong within yourself, you're going to still deal with that situation better. But what would you say to someone who does get in a situation they were not prepared for and don't respond the way that they initially would hope that they would? How can you catch yourself maybe and do better next time, or not be too hard on yourself and just do something different the next time around?
What you're saying is very general. So, I mean, that's like a case by case basis. But like you said, I believe that when we have situations that didn't go as we would have liked, they are opportunities to become prepared so that it doesn't have to be like that again.
Yeah. Instead of feeling defeated, to see it as a learning opportunity is what I'm hearing from you. Yeah, I think that's resilience, is learning how to adapt from the situation. As I was just discussing in my last interview, it's taking what happened and going, okay, this is what I liked about what happened. This is not what I liked about what happened. This is what I can do differently next time, and not getting hung up on creating as an identity with yourself. Like, let's say you had a trigger from trauma or something. You are not trauma. You are not what happened to you. It's something in the past. It's something that needs to be dealt with. But you don't take that identity on yourself, because that's when people become the victims, and the target is they internalize something in a way that they're vulnerable because they're so caught in the emotions of something that either happened or something perceived as negative, and they step out of their own strength and out of their own resiliency.
Well, and if you want, I would love to do an entire other conversation on recovering from victimhood, because I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be another. Yeah, we'll have to do that sometime. But I just think being prepared is the key to not becoming a target or a victim. And that's what I like about what you are offering, is the idea that if you're proactive, you have strategies in place, then you're less likely to experience things you don't want to experience. Not that we don't all have things that happen to us in life we don't want, but though some things are preventable. There are things that you can do your part.
Most things, actually. It's surprising. Most. But that's, society tells us that we're powerless. Society tells us that it's just a consequence of living, and that there's nothing, and it comes out of nowhere, and there's nothing all. It's not true. There is as much footwork as you're willing to do so that you have no reason to worry. No reason to worry.
Do you have a personal story of resilience and being strong that was your defining moment?
I can tell you that the reason why I do the things that I do are because of the experiences that I've had. Why the mindset work is so important is because as a black belt, I experienced trauma. I experienced trauma because the things that things that I learned, I did not feel it was appropriate to use what I learned on the people that it was with, because I mean, you have choices. Am I going to take away their ability to see for the rest of their life? Am I going to take away their ability to procreate? And it's very black and white. It's so black and white. You have do nothing or cause lifetime damage, nothing or lifetime damage. And what happens is when you live in that, you're available for a lot, you know? And so mindset is really important, and having tools to use in all of that area. Just like you said, most people, when you talk about self-defense, they go, well, what are you going to do if somebody grabs you? And then my question is, why the heck are you letting people grab you?
Yeah. How did you get in a situation somebody's grabbing you in the first place?
Yes. Like, why are you letting people grab you? Why are you letting somebody get so close to grab you? Like, let me tell you, if I'm uncomfortable with somebody, I'm not going to let them close enough to grab me. I'm keeping them far away.
Yeah.
Are you aware
that you realize they're making you uncomfortable? Like, you got to be aware of that as well. Yeah. That's a skill. That's a skill to read people. On my summit, we actually had a gentleman who was a personal profiler and could profile people and tell you all about their personality. And my one interview with me, he shocked me. He nailed me to a T of my personality and what I was like. I was just shocked. But he developed that skill because he realized he really lacked that ability. And now he's made it his career. And so like you said, we don't realize how many options there are without exploring this and realizing there really are a lot of things we could prevent just by having a little more knowledge and doing a little more research, or having a training or a group to just be a part of and be more aware. And I think people are a little more aware of being prepared with things like food storage and things in your home after the pandemic and things like that. So that's also another sense of preparedness I think people are more aware of. But what we're really talking about is that internal preparedness for the things in life that come.
Well, it's external too. Moms can find some blogs on our website, and it'll walk you through like how to feel good about your babysitter, how to pick a preschool that you're confident in, that you know. I mean, these are decisions you can have. There are concrete questions with concrete answers that lead you to something, to an end result that you feel really good about. So when you hear another mom saying, yeah, I feel so bad leaving my kid with a babysitter, I'm just not sure, you know, and you're like, I know. I'm sure, because I got a background check on my babysitter and they're clean and good. You know what I mean? Like, I called all of their references, and like, I feel really good. I'm confident with my babysitter. If something happened and I didn't come home, you know, until the next day, I'm confident my babysitter could handle it because I am aware. I am prepared. I did the footwork. I know.
And so many situations are different today. Some of us were given like how life would work out for us, but a lot of us, it didn't. Like, I've been divorced twice. That was not part of the plan. And so there's things and situations I never saw myself in, like maybe needing to consider childcare and things. And that just wasn't part of my script originally. And what I love about what you're doing and the work that you're doing is you're giving women, and mothers in particular, all sorts of options. And then you just pick from those options what works for you in your situation, so you can go forward in confidence and in your resilient strength as a mother. And as you do that, you're going to give that to your children, and we're going to create a strong, resilient next generation. And we're going to avoid a lot of those pitfalls that happen for people in their lives and just be better for it. Well, thank you for your time. So we can find the Mama Bear Facebook group. What is the exact name for it? And where are some of these other
Prepared. Yep, Mama Bear Prepared. And the website is beatingdisaster.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for coming today. Carrie, it was so great having you on here. I think this is a very important discussion. I'm so glad that we got to have it here. And please tune in everyone for more, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.